Republican governors all across the country are fighting to stop teachers from indoctrinating their students into any kind of specific ideology by telling them that any kind of race is somehow guilty of something, that one political party is better than the other. So, of course, Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, who is really at the heart of all of this, signed legislation yesterday that forces teachers to spend November 7th telling their students how terrible communism is. DeSantis signed legislation that not only forces teachers to teach the evils of communism, but also designates November 7th as the Victims of Communism Day here in the state of Florida. Now, other states have also done this, Victims of Communism Day, and Florida just becomes the latest to do it, but they are the first to mandate that every teacher spend at least 45 minutes on November 7th telling their students how terrible communism truly is. Let me read this. It would require teaching of Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Fidel Castro, as well as, quote, poverty, starvation, migration, systemic lethal violence, and suppression of speech endured under those regimes. Or in other words, history. See, we didn't need a special decree from the governor. We didn't need legislation forcing teachers to teach what they're already teaching. And trust me, I know this because you're looking at somebody who got their public education solely in the state of Florida. I went to elementary school here, middle school, high school. We learned these things in our regular history classes. We also learned about American history too. But the history I learned back then is no longer allowed to be taught in Florida schools today. But the other parts already were. And I also know this because I have many friends and family members who also happen to be educators here in the state of Florida, some of them high school history teachers who understand we're already teaching this crap. So why bother with the legislation? Well, I'm glad you asked because there is a very political reason for it. And DeSantis pretty much spelled it out when he announced this. We've got a large Cuban population here in the United States. People who fled Cuba under Fidel Castro. They came here, they've raised families, and of course they have horrible memories of what happened in Cuba. So he wants to pander to these people. Now, they're already a solidly Republican voting bloc here in the state of Florida. But voting blocs can change, right? Demographics can shift. So DeSantis has to throw these people a bone by saying, I get you, I hear you, I feel your pain. And I'm going to force everybody else to learn what a horrible, horrible country you have escaped here, as if we didn't already know that. But he's pandering to these people to make sure that they vote for him in the upcoming midterm elections, where, of course, Ron DeSantis is up for re-election. That's what this is all about. Now, I understand there's plenty of people out there right now who do want to call themselves communists. And I get that. I honestly don't care. But let's be real here for a moment. Communism, no matter how much you might like it in theory, it has actually never worked in practice. Okay, that's just a reality. And hey, that's one of the things that you learn when you go on and you get a higher education and you're able to do research and independent things on your own. When you read books, you understand these kinds of things. You don't have to have it drilled into your head by a teacher who doesn't even know what they're explaining because it's been forced upon them and didn't actually fit in their lesson plans for the day. Let the teachers teach their regular lessons. Let the children come to their own conclusions about these kinds of things. Let people go out and do their own outside research and determine if you do like this thing or if you don't. Because if you're not giving them that option, then it is in fact indoctrination. And that is exactly what Republicans say they're against. But in practice, they love indoctrination because it's the only way to keep people subservient enough to continue voting for the Republicans.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.